Hi everyone, this week I'm talking about the 18-month sleep regression and why possibly it's the most difficult sleep regression that you're going to go through. I'm Sophie from Shut Eye, good to see you again, and I'm talking about the 18-month sleep regression because we are going through it right at this very moment, so I thought it's the best time to kind of share it with you. So Tinker is 17 months, she's just turned 17 months, and we have noticed some different behaviour from her at bedtime with some resistance, but it really kind of came to a peak a couple of nights ago when she was awake from 10:30 p.m. until 3:30 a.m, constantly awake the whole time, which means either myself or my partner was with her the whole time, and I was pretty much with her from midnight till 3:30 a.m. So I'll talk about my night in a little bit more detail, but just kind of go through why the 18-month sleep regression is going to be a bit of a stinker for you, and what you can really do to try and make it go as smoothly as possible. Now, it's called the 18-month sleep regression because that's generally when it happens, but it can kick in any time from sort of 15 or 16 months all the way through until when they're kind of 24 months, so just about 2 years of age. Why it tends to happen is because there again is another burst explosion of development, so physical and cognitive development. You will probably find that your baby / toddler now really has decided to drop that second nap, and they're just down to having one nap at lunchtime now. So there's a big kind of much more spaces that they're awake for throughout the day, getting really busy, learning, really active. But also it's a time where speech explodes as well. So they're starting to learn new words, and it might just be a word here or there, mama, dada, mummy, daddy. And then they start picking up new words every day, and they're copying everything that you say to them. So their little brains are bursting with energy and excitement, and they want to practice that, which is what Tinker was doing in the other night. She wasn't upset. She was just chatting. We were literally kind of in the room with her, trying to settle her. She was quiet. You know, it sounded like she was just drifting off to sleep, maybe about 20 minutes. Would go to leave the room and she would go, "Hiya," or "Mummy," which is really quite cute. But she was just sort of checking that you were still there. And then she was just going, chatting away with all of her new words. So she wasn't really getting upset, although she did get upset when we tried to leave her to it and be like, okay, well, if we're not kind of helping you by being in the room, there's no point us being there. So that's why I did go back in there and sort of stay with her for such a long amount of time. But she was literally going through this cycle of just relaxing, trying to go to sleep, not drifting off, and then chatting again. And I think she absolutely would have gone all night had I have not said, okay, 3:30, this is absolutely ridiculous. I'm going now and you're getting on with it. The other indicators that you might see if your child is going through the 18-month sleep regression, of course, is age. Those two things that I've said there about the cognitive and the development behaviours as well, the dropping of the nap. So you might start to see some resistance at bedtime, and that's what we have been seeing over the past couple of weeks as well. So Tinker would happily go into her cot, drift off to sleep. She might sing, babble, chat, all of those things. But recently she has just been screaming, and she has a very, very loud scream as well. It makes your ears crackle. It's that loud. And, often I would say give them space, give your baby space, especially if they know how to fall asleep. But, she was getting to that level where we just couldn't. So we've been having to go in and help her and settle her and calm her down. And that's not been happening every night, but maybe 2 in a row, and then it would be fine. And then the same thing, she may have woken up sort of briefly before midnight, which is unusual for her because she sleeps through the night. So we were having to go in and settle her again. Obviously, with a child of this age, you're always questioning, is it teething? Now, Tinker has been a very late teether. She got her first 4 teeth when she was 7-8 months, and there's been nothing since. So it's almost, like 10 months or so since she's had any more teeth. So there's always the signs from her, the flushed cheeks, the dribbling, it looks like they're in pain, the gnawing, all of that thing. So, you know, if she wakes in the night, we think that it's teething pain and want to give her a bit of pain relief. So, but of course, it's kind of a mixture of the two, really. So another thing that happens at 18 months is that your child is going to be experiencing a peak of separation anxiety. So when you go out of the room, they might be screaming, wanting to be with you, wanting to be held and be picked up. So they're kind of getting into this limbo period of, you know, they're moving away from the baby days and heading full on into toddler land. And that's what they want, but of course they're kind of yearning to still be a bit of a baby, but also wanting that autonomy and wanting to do things for themselves and learning that they can do things for themselves and they do have choice over things, which is really kind of, you know, testing behaviour starts to come out of them as well. So perhaps where you may have been able to leave them at bedtime to fuss a little bit and then them go off to sleep, now they are ramping up the level of I will scream and I will shout to get you back into the room. So what is the best way to manage these sleep regressions? The first thing is to know that it is, like anything, a period and it shall too pass, like every phase of childhood. But yeah, just kind of recognising it for what it is. Don't panic and think, oh my God, it's going to be like this forever. It won't. And we can give our children some extra support as they're going through it. Remember that they are experiencing change and that they're learning lots of things. So another top tip for you is to practice with them in the daytime. You know, if they're practicing a new skill, do that in the daytime. So if they haven't quite mastered walking yet, perhaps, you know, make sure that you're doing that with them. And with speech as well, give them lots of time to chat and to practice new words in the daytime so that hopefully they won't feel the need to be doing that in the middle of the night when they're waking up. Give them the opportunity to settle themselves to sleep. Don't always rush into them. But of course, if they're really getting upset, then you can kind of go into them, sit with them until they are calm and help them to fall asleep. Lots of families worry, oh my God, I'm going to be in, you know, with them forever. And it's just about knowing that this is a phase and, you know, it will go. It could be a few days, a week, a couple of weeks, or a number of weeks. And it can go on and off in terms of the rises and falls in terms of the need of the support that they might want from you around sleep. You also might find that they want to skip naps for the day, so a reliable napper just suddenly doesn't want to go, or perhaps they don't want to do it at nursery. Again, it's normal. Don't do anything differently to what you have been doing before. Continue to put them down at the time that you would. You can't force them to fall asleep. All you can do is be consistent in your response. So again, if they need a little bit of help to get to sleep, you can stay with them and give them a cuddle or anything that you do to help them drift off. But always, always, always put them down. Try not to rely too much on taking them out for a buggy walk or a car drive if they are used to napping at home, because quite quickly they can get used to not napping at home. So you really want to go through your same structure that you do already. If they don't go to sleep, they don't go to sleep. Make sure that you put them down earlier in the evening to avoid them getting overtired. So in summary, your child will be going through a big period of change. They're 18 months, learning to talk, learning that they have choice and they want to exercise those choices over what they do. They will be feeling a little bit anxious and be wanting to be with you and perhaps held a lot of the time, and then at the same time they don't want to be held and pushed away from you. So it's just about recognising that, being there to support them when they want it, and obviously knowing when to kind of give them a bit of a step back when you need to as well. It is a phase. Hopefully it won't last too long for you. It could just be a week, couple of weeks, or it might be on and off up to 6 weeks. So the top tips are recognising that it is the sleep regression at 18 months if your child is around about that age, and knowing that they've got lots of development going on verbally, physically. They're going to be feeling a little bit anxious, and you know, when they're not in your company, so that separation anxiety is at a peak. They're going to need some extra support from you, and that's okay. Be there to give them that extra support, but know that it will be finishing hopefully in a week or so, but perhaps up to 6 weeks as well, and it's going to go up and down in terms of the intensity. So yeah, we had our shocker nights, a shocker of a night 2 nights ago. Last night was perfect, slept through, no problem at all. So it will go up and down. Prepare yourself for it, try and get as much rest as possible, but ultimately just follow the routine that you have already if that's been working well for you. Put them down at the same time at bedtime, go through the same routine. The same with naps, you know, make sure that they go down with the same routine for their naps, but be there to support them if they need it. And also if they are missing out on sleep and it's taking a long time for them to fall asleep, if they're awake for long periods in the night time or they're not napping, make sure that you give them the opportunity to catch up. So an earlier bedtime, perhaps a little bit of a lay-in in the morning if it has been a shocker of a night. I tend not to recommend that too much because it's really important for children and adults to have the same wake-up time every day, you know, across the week and weekend, you know, so 7 days a week. But with Tinker, you know, she was awake from 10:30 till 3:30 a.m. So when she did eventually wake up the next day, we let her sleep in to 8:30. And then she had a 2.5 hour nap that day. And you know what? She was fine. I thought, you know, she's going to be absolute hell, but she was absolutely fine. Went to bed at 7:30, I think, in the evening, or just last night, and then slept through fine. So yeah, but just, you know, being mindful of some children might really need a super early bedtime to help them catch up, because if they don't, that's lost sleep and can really affect their mood and behaviour. We know that they can be a little bit moody at the moment anyway, so anything to avoid that being magnified, I reckon, is a good thing. So I hope my experience of the 18-month sleep regression has helped you. If you're going through it, good luck, fingers crossed it won't last forever, but it would be good to hear from you, to hear what shockers you have been experiencing as well. If I get anything else, I will do a part 2 to this video to let you know what else has been going on for us. But if not, yeah, hit me up with some comments below, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you again soon.